Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, anywhere in the world. This is Marshall Sanders, and I'm going to do a series of videos concerning the racial and historical problems that have been into the black community for ever in this country. And I'm going to break down on not only what the problems are, but how to fix the problems. So this video, as well as subsequent videos, will speak about those things that many of us are, warned against and pretty confused about. But I'm going to try to make this as plain as possible so that anyone, anywhere in the world, can understand what the white matrix is and why it must be destroyed. So, sit back, relax, and let me tell you a little story, if you will, about something that happened in the past that brings its relevancy to this present time. Now, we've all heard of certain things that have happened in recent history, let's say as far back as World War II. We heard of a race of people that we'll call Israelites uh, to this moment. Many people will call them Jews, but semantics, let's kind of go past that. Now, these people have reported, and of course that's disputed by many, but however, let's not dispute for this moment that 6 million people of the Jewish Israeli race were systematically murdered in concentration camps by Adolf Hitler and his German Nazi regime. Now, that situation lasted less than 10 years that we know of, uh, where all of those events came together. However, at the end of that situation, the world was made known, and rightfully so, of course, the absolute atrocities that was done against the Israeli people. And once that became mainstream and made it understood and published throughout the world of the situation that had been going on under everyone's nose, and some of it was known, believe it or not, a lot of the governments were aware that these events were going on. However, when it was known fully by every nation after the wars that this had happened, it was immediately put upon the German people to actually do something that they called reparations. You see, they acknowledged that under that Nazi regime that there were many not only atrocities, but these people were systematically deprived of their property because many of them were rather affluent financially. So these things were taken away from them, and not only was these wealth aspects taken away from them, they also were routinely brutalized and even killed systematically. So you say, what does this have to do with the white matrix, Marshall? It has everything to do with the white matrix. Because Germany, seeing that this was a major problem that they themselves had allowed Adolf Hitler and his regime to actually put into the German people, said, we, at the end of the day, we are responsible for this. And so they said the right thing to do is enact reparations and give to the Israeli nation and also to the Israeli Congress, which at that point had been formed in 1948, I believe, of the lands in which they will soon war against to take away from the Palestinian people. Now, that was only a 10-year, roughly, time frame. And the Israeli people received, I believe, $5 billion more directly, and another $1 billion to their Congress. What do you think people should get after 400 years of being under that same situation, or at least very similar to situation? What do you think? I mean, it's easy to actually look back in history and say, well, the African American person should not receive anything. I mean, after all, that was so long ago. How long ago was 1940? Can anybody guess? 1940? You know, some of you math and fluent people. 1940 was only 80 years ago. And yet, to this day, rightfully so, this is not a right or wrong situation. For 80 years, we still hear daily. We still hear weekly, monthly, yearly. We still have events that signify the absolutely atrocity of the Holocaust. And yet, when you say, eh, 80, 100 years, 200 years, 300 years, 400 years of people of color being victimized even more so than these Israeli people. Just the thought of reparations. Oh my God, black people want free money. Listen, it's not free money. It is money owed. Okay? And it's not just money owed. Not only do you go to Germany and other places in the world and you see uh, money being given into, Israeli things, you'll see Holocaust museums. You'll see people being reminded daily that these things went on as an event that we must never forget so that we can move forward as a people. You see, when it comes into the German mind to be angry about, some certain situations that may go into their life and into their country, and rightfully so, obviously, as American or German or otherwise citizen, you're going to have frustrations. You're going to have unfair practices against you as a citizen because government by itself is an enforcement of tyranny in so many ways. But when that German thinks, you know what, I'm gonna hate the Jews. It's the Jews that's responsible. It's the blacks that are responsible. It's the whatever it is responsible. You know what happens? Society shows throughout all everywhere. They can just go down the street and see the Auschwitz memorial to what anger and hatred can do to a people. And then they can say, aha, I was temporarily out of my mind. I was temporarily just angry, and now I see a reason to calm down because of what can possibly happen if I let my anger become my wrath. So, what we're going to do is be discussing in the next coming months. I'm going to try to make a daily video concerning this. It's something that we call in America the white matrix. And what is the white matrix? The white matrix can justify acts of absolute tyranny. It can justify pretty much anything. Because it's not so much racism as an inability to acknowledge that a people actually exist in the first place. This carefully construed world of, well, things have been so great and we're the greatest and all these other things, not based on any reality. They cannot point to facts of those realities, but it makes them comfortable. And anything that comes outside of that, anything that comes out into them that mixes in with that fake make matrix, they instantaneously dislike any reality coming into that matrix. So I'm going to try to reevaluate whether something is racism or not. I think we should actually take a pause on the racism aspect, whether something's racist or not. And I think we should actually press the play and press that play button and let it go and break down what history was, what history is, and what history can be. Because until this point, the white matrix is not history, it's his story. But we have an opportunity today to come out of the white matrix. Because when we come out of the white matrix and we see the reality of what's really true, we can all finally dwell in reality. And you know, reality can be one thing one day and become something completely different the next day. And so I'm going to make these video series to get us to a point to where we can change our reality to being a great reality together. Otherwise, the white matrix is going to be the death, not only to the reality, but even to the white matrix. So, join me whenever you have a chance to. Keep me in mind. And we're going to break down in this series the white matrix, why it must be destroyed. So, thank you for joining me. I appreciate you giving me your time and your effort. Shalom to each and every one of you. Have a wonderful day wherever you are in the world. Thank you.